I think we're going to talk about where the actual meal is getting cooked, right? Because that is a very pertinent topic, because then the overall governance also shifts to if the meal is getting, if the AI is getting built by a partner, or you are yourself building it, so the overall dimension of who's actually accountable also changes, right? So setting the context, today I think one of the things that I want to generally start is AI being AI. I think one of the key things which is happening, which I think we keep talking about, is this is one technology where it has reached the consumer faster than the enterprises, right? And that's a very big thing, and that's the reason why it's leapfrogging across, right? And somebody was talking about that they have given the AI to their own parents, and how fast their parents are actually using it more than anybody else, right? Today, the enterprise is not talking about whether they want to use an AI or things like that. What they are talking about is, how to build the backbone of the AI, essentially, right? Which leads to a question of the million-dollar question of whether it's going to be a build, buy, or borrow, right? So, for people who doesn't understand build, borrow, buy, because I know there are students here who join the corporates. So, build essentially means something that I'm going to build on my own. It's my own stack, right? Where the control is with me. Also, there are a lot of risks. You will have to build it. It takes time, scarcity of resources, and so on and so forth. Buy is something that I essentially go to an enterprise platform, say for an example, a hyperscaler, right? Microsoft. So essentially, they help me to do faster. Ideally, do it when I have to build a commodity AI, right? The third is more of borrow, which is essentially the smaller platforms, IP startups, who will give me speed for execution, but also it's a shared control. I have the general concern of who owns the IP and so on and so forth, right? So those are three options that you have for all those who not fully understand. So I think today we're going to do a role play, three of us. I'm going to represent CEO of an organization. It's a retail organization. Ranan is going to be the CFO, and Biswajit is going to be the CTO. All of us will have different point of views. We'll have conflict. Hopefully, finally, we'll kind of converge at some point in time, right? So it starts. We'll have 3-4 acts. I think the starting point is, I think it's going to be between us now, right? All three of us. So guys, I just have been from a board meeting, was beaten up, right? The general conversation call out that I got was, competitors are doing a lot of things rapidly. We are generally called as digitally laggard, right? We have to do something, will be irrelevant, if you don't do it anything in the next 3 years, right? So 25 million on the table, what do we do next? Hello, check. Hello. Yeah, usually nobody listens to CFOs, so that's not a new thing. But the thing is, this 25 million on the board and all these things, I don't buy into all of these things, because you are talking about an AI excitement. You are not talking about accountability. You are not talking about any revenue flow. It's like, I'm not comfortable in approving a 25 million just like that, just because you have something. Because it's not really appealing, to be honest.
Yeah. And as a CTO, I think I have been hired to build capabilities, not to go and purchase from the street. And to me, the capability is one of the major differentiator between a company X and company Y. And if you're talking about building AI system, if you are building AI system on top of, say, siloed data universe, bad quality of data, I don't think so that it will lead to any outcome.
Guys, all these are fine. For me, it's very simple, right? I need to go to the market faster. I need a competitive advantage, right? I don't have time. Please decide what you want to do it. My competitors are already running ahead. Tell me what we need to do.
I mean, see, I'm not comfortable again in, say, like building something from scratch. I've been hearing that for the last 5 years. There have been so many initiatives. I've approved so much of money, and we are still struggling to get back the revenue. Yeah, I understand the CapEx is still visible because we are talking about 25 million, but my worry is that the OpEx will spiral pretty soon. If you keep building everything in-house, beyond a time it's like a mammoth task on running it and maintaining it.
Valid point?
Yeah, but the point is that if we keep buying stuff, we will lose control. then most of the AI solutions which are there are black box, so we will not have any control to them. Moreover, if you're talking about end-to-end, we will lose control on the data pipelines, on the models. So we should not be the person who will be held accountable for that if you're going for a full-fledged buying decision.
Okay, enough of a tech emotion, a cost, financial discipline conversation. Tell me, how do we go to the market faster, better differentiation, and at the same time, I want my competitors not to copy it.
See, I would suggest let's do pilot. Let's do pilot. Let's check that if the pilots are giving us value, then only scale. Let's not try to start the plan is like building everything at one shot, and then we finally find out that that is not the worth doing it. I'm in favor of doing small pilots and show me the value.
Yeah, see, the pilots are great, but say if you're running 10 pilots at a time, and some might work as well, and it will give a success on paper. But what if once we are actually having the successful pilots and we have to scale it, we don't have any data strategy, if we don't have any platform, if we don't have any architecture, how are you going to scale those solutions or scale those pilots? So we need to think about that as well. So only doing pilot is not going to solve our problem. We have to build our foundational element as well.
Case in point, guys. Competitor, they have already got 100 million of funding, okay, to build an AI platform. Second, they already have around 30 agents live running in production, right? Which they are saying that hopefully they'll 40 to 50% of productivity gains, right? That's where we are talking about, right? All of these are great. Are we converging to a point that we're talking about a hybrid kind of a solution where we buy for speed, differentiate and build it, and probably for experimentation go for a borrow to a platform? What's the convergence?
Yeah, I think that's a fair take. I get your point, and I understand we have to show a bit of urgency to go to market. So I mean, like, let's do a balance. So 25 million, I understand the board has approved, but let's not really plan for the 25 million at one shot. So I'm approving 10 million as the first step. So plan based on the 10 million. Let's give a track. Let's check the results in another 3 months' time, 6 months' time, and then we decide about the rest of the investment.
Yeah. So let's do one thing. Let's run pilot at one side, at the second and parallel. Let's work on building some of our foundational elements like data, our platform, our architecture. See, at the end of the day, we need to understand that AI is not about any shortcut. If we go with a shortcut, it will be a very immediate win, but in a long term, it will not lead to any high ROI. So at the same time, we have to go for a hybrid model, we have to balance between pilot as well as building the foundation in order to earn the competitive advantage and also lead to a positive ROI. So yes, I'm with you guys.
Great. So I don't care. The product has to launch in the next 6 months. Less than 2 times.
I'm going to get a promotion.
Yeah, we'll talk about it after 6 months. So, guys, this is where it is. So we've concluded the decision is a hybrid decision, right? As you can see, build, buy, or borrow, which is generally an enterprise, a decision that they have to take. And most of us in that position, that I think we keep dabbling with this kind of a problem statement that we have, right, every day. So with that, I will kind of pause, take any audience, any point of view. Do you disagree? Anybody has an experience of, working, build, buying, borrowing, and then kind of taking a different turn at a later point in time? Please share.
Maybe to start with, how many of you have suffered through the SaaS renewal strategy when at the end of the 3 years,
I can see a hands up.
your bill gets doubled compared to what you were thinking to pay them?
Do you have any question?
Please share your experience.
So would you love to build rather than buying those SaaS products?
No question, but this is a constant battle that everybody faces, especially some of the GCCs. You are still building the capabilities, so you also see whether you have the right talent to build it. There's an immediate business need, so do you go for the market and buy? So we do a mix of both. I'm not saying that there's one strategy versus the other. And it typically depends on the business need, the talent that we have, how fast we need things to move on. And yeah, but the engineer in me always says, okay, let's build it, but sometimes you have to also do what's right for the business.
Any other challenge of borrowing? Because I have faced a lot of challenges where you don't get the right solution, right? Because is that a general problem? I mean, you have something in mind because you've taken a decision that I want to borrow, which is great, which means that I'm not going to build it. It's somebody else's headache, but they actually have not really understood what is to be built. Is that a common problem that you guys have seen?
Yes, it does. And they also build in a very generic way, but your business may want to do something very specific.
Yeah.
So we end up building other, simpler bespoke solutions around it, and the maintenance becomes
bolt-on, what do you call it, bolt-on solutions?
The bigger challenge I feel is in the governance and security. So sometimes you don't understand the depth of what's happening with those SaaS solutions unless you try to actually implement them, and then the whole shenanigans with your CSO and everything, that becomes a big challenge with security and governance.
Yeah, by that time you might have lost a lot of money.
Yes, and the price as well. So sometimes you, even though we try to go in with understanding a lot of things, negotiate the contracts, but sometimes you may have to end up buying some other professional services from them, so you end up spending more than what you are. It's all real challenges.
Sure. I think in general, my own personal thing is, since the models are changing rapidly, so the general, the CEO and boardroom is, let's not spend, and then CFO. Why are we even spending money? The models are changing, right? You build something today and that's going to be obsolete. So the follow-up is, why not go to the hyperscaler, because they have money, they're building it, and is that so? Which is coming under the overall buying with an enterprise platform. Is that a strategy so some of you guys are following?
Strategic partnership.
Strategic partnership.
But then the transparency and the control over the
lock-in, you get locked in.
That's a trade-off.
Oh yeah. All three of these have trade-offs.
So is it that like everybody agrees it's a hybrid, then our job is so easy? Is there anyone in the room who believes that there is a better way to do it? Awesome.
If you can, there's a hand up.
Yeah, if you can share your view.
I would raise my hand because I had a question, but also I try to, let's see, first I'll ask my question maybe that will already help in terms of the question you asked. So in the work that you were doing, suppose your current state was slightly different, right? Suppose as an organization, your data foundation was already quite well established, all right? And then you had the same, let's say you had to have this discussion. Would you do it differently? Would you take a different decision? If the data foundation part is sorted and you are actually quite robust and advanced in that.
I can take the question actually. So one of my previous company where data foundation was much stronger, I think from an industry standpoint also, there the build was very highly recommended rather than buy or borrow, because obviously from a maturity curve standpoint it is already on the higher side, right? And I'm talking about one of the top retailers in the world. But in those cases, I think we should invest on the build, because build is always a long-term perspective, right? Buy is definitely a short-term. So if your foundational elements are already placed, I think it mostly goes into the build category. That's what I have seen. Obviously, a bits and pieces here and there, we can go about 10%, 15% for the flex model, right? If someone who can take a little bit of accelerator, you can actually get into the classes of the process.
Slightly different opinion that I have. I think it depends upon the use case. According to me, I think data is never sorted for an enterprise because it's so vast, and there are some use cases and domains that you can actually say that, yeah, I'm done, my thing is sorted, which could be a build situation that you could, but all those where your data is not sorted, where your foundation is not there, I think it's better to just go out and get it done. But yeah.
And just to add one other perspective, one of the models what we followed, especially in Sherlock or maybe in other companies also, is like we divided between what is our core function, what is our non-core function. So say like, it's very easy to get tempted being a technologist that I'll build my own CRM because our industry is different. But we made a discipline to say that like, we'll not invest in finding out a better way of doing CRM because somebody else has done enough market survey to build a product. So if it is CRM, let's go there. If it is ERP, let's go there, buy that. But anything which has to do with our own processes, say like if I have to automate my refinery maintenance, or if I want to do, say, like automation of my invoice processing system. These are the core system, although where a lot of products are available, but we prefer to customize and do it in our way. So we divided between what is our core functionality, what is not core. Because we know core functions keep changing and which is in our control. But the non-core things, if we try to build beyond a time, we break our head in doing something which is not our on business.
Thank you.
Any other thoughts or questions?
I come from an ERP background.
Yes.
So for me, I always believe in the buy. The build is bullshit. That's number one. Number two is, even in this case, if your data is organized so well, why do you want to go for the build? Because it's so organized. I might as well go for a product which is already off the shelf, a parts product. Just try to fit it in over here, makes my job easier because I don't have to break my head on what's going to go wrong. But if my build, I'm always worried what's going to fail, what's going to fail. So I look at it very differently by saying, boss, if my data is organized in some form or the other, just go for the buy. Problem is solved. I look at problems where tomorrow I can probably think of innovation or value impacts or something like that. So that's the way I probably will take it.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. I think a lot of my customers and enterprises, I think they're going with a similar. But what I've generally seen is they do have COTS product like the one that you talked about, right? ERP, system to records, data is sorted. There is a functionality that it is doing and it is supposed to do that and it does much better than anything else. You don't have to build an ERP product. But having said that, the custom solutions, right? Because most of these enterprises have a lot of happening. Like for example, if you take logistics, we have a bunch of customers in logistics. They have a lot of things happening which are on the terminals, right? On the operations. So there are a lot of use cases. You essentially can build custom solutions. So you, again, a very hybrid focused approach. There also you can take two approaches. Either you build that custom solution yourself if you have a good engineering arm or a GCC, or you can go to a boutique AI platform, a partner who can build it and then give it to you faster.
And while I completely agree with you, Srini, but just to add a flavor to it, I'll give you an example which will help you to relate that sometimes how complicated the systems are. So say like, all of you go to a petrol pump, right? So when you enter, you first go and fill up your tank with petrol, diesel, whatever it is. And then suppose you go and grab a cup of coffee, and then while coming out you find a nice car perfume, you pick it up also. So you as a customer, it's a simple journey which is like 3 products you have bought. But in reality, within the organization, that's 3 different businesses. So one is the fuel business, one is non-fuel business, one is non-fuel non-food business, sorry, non-fuel food business. And these 3 businesses are claiming that I have got a new customer today. So in our record, it's showing that 3 new customers visited our business today. And in reality, what happened is like when 5 years back we tried to do the customer unification program, we figured out there are 14 different vertical applications, enterprise level applications, which use custom data. And there are 3 million customers in our database. And reality is that that customer base is not 3 million. And we had a nightmare to first do this custom unification because every business is trying to maintain their barriers, their proprietaries, because they feel like if I give my data, I don't know what will happen, right? So then we had to go to the buy thing. We use the Salesforce Data Cloud.
MDM.
Right, so to bring the CRM thing to say that like, guys, unless we unify this data, we are losing the power. Because what happens is like, suppose you're a person, you have already raised a complaint, you are very unhappy with our product and you have raised a complaint. But that is a separate database. The other database is saying that you're a very happy customer, you are receiving a loyalty customer, that the same product with which you are unhappy, it's available in 30% discount. You will get more irritated than actually happy with the company, right? So why I'm giving this example? Because sometimes the system is so complicated that if you try to build to make this unified, it's impossible. So you have to use the buy products which are capable of doing this unified. After that, you put your own logic in different businesses to find out different insights for that. That's fair enough.
I think I just wanted to add one point here, Srini, is basically it also depends on the culture of the company. Because I think the same problem we had it in Walmart, and there was a discussion about whether to buy or build. Walmart went for build because it's a more inherent nature of the company's culture that the build is a immediate choice essentially. So it also comes from the DNA of the company as well to a certain extent.
No, see, if you you go in that logic, again, I'll probably have a point. From a CFO's perspective, on a SaaS, the way he accounts for in his books is very different from a byproduct to a build product. In a byproduct, it's so simple for me. I know that if I'm going to invest it, it's my asset. It's not even an asset. If you look into the P&Ls or the balance sheets today, you can't say a ERP, especially with moving away from the on-premise to the SaaS.
It's operation headache.
Yeah, so you cannot. Whereas with the build, my problem starts because I'm investing and I do not know how to justify this build for how long. Because today I'm probably addressing one issue, maybe one or two issues. But then the question comes, करने के बाद, tomorrow is it going to scale up? Is it scalable? We don't have answers because technology is evolving over here. So I'm always caught between this. So I probably, if I'm running the show, which I am now, I'll lean more towards a buy. So that I know that it's depreciated at the end of 3 years or 4 years, जो भी है. And if I can customize it again with my own team, etc., so मैं कुछ तो करूँगा. But to start all over with this, and again talent retention, all this starts coming into play over here. So I am more towards the build guy rather than a buy guy compared to a build.
All insights. I think there is no perfect solution, but I think somewhere we have to do hybrid because it's difficult to pick one model and make it work for it. Perfect. So I think we're up done with the time. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.